Who cares and why does it matter to anyone who smiles and falls in love with her? Different words for the troubled souls, for the quenching of the thirst, for the sounds, for the sudden blue. And lights and varies for the air valets, and yet to breathe the cold air for what you breathe in life into your winter, for the yet the touching of the lips, and yes, but it's with a dime. Who cares and why does it matter to anyone who smiles and falls in love with her? Different words for the troubled souls, for the quenching of the thirst, for the sounds, for the sudden blue. Lights and varies for the air valets, and yet to breathe the cold air for what you breathe in life into your winter, for the yet the touching of the lips, and yes. Who cares and why does it matter to anyone who smiles and falls in love with her? Different words for the troubled souls, for the quenching of the thirst, for the sounds, for the sudden blue. Lights and varies for the air valets, and yet to breathe the cold air for what you breathe in life into your winter, for the yet the touching of the lips, and yes, but it's with a dime nuisance for the hands, for the primary colors and the red of them. Ending up in that you did, for the tears and scorching pain, for the sunset wait you wait for the listen to me, for the picking down, for the earth, the sunset, the miniature golf, for the mothers, the days that blow her load, and maybe the winter for the cheap fool sunsets and giving birth to the life's roots. They're blue, you know, for the winter's blue, always keeping you staying the same, for the night for you saw the moon, for the God life is you broken like the soul, the breath sticks and every magnets inside of the eyes, and every morning you can get in for no cliche, no warnings and no hair. Who cares and why does it matter to anyone who smiles and falls? Who cares and why does it matter to anyone who cares and why does it matter to anyone who smiles and falls in love with her? Different words for the troubled souls, the quenching of the thirst, for the sounds, for the sudden blue. Lights and varies for the air valets, and yet to breathe the cold air for what you breathe in life into your winter, for the yet the touching of the lips, and yes, but it's with a dime nuisance for the hands, for the primary colors and the red of them. Ending up in that you did, for the tears and scorching pain, for the sunset wait you wait for the listen to me, for the picking down, for the earth, the sunset, the miniature golf, for the mothers, the days that blow her load, and maybe the winter for the cheap fool sunsets and giving birth to the life's roots. They're blue, you know, for the winter's blue, always keeping you staying the same, for the night for you saw the moon, for the God life is you broken like the soul, the breath sticks and every magnets inside of the eyes, and every morning you can get in for no cliche, no warnings and no happenings. Full enough to stop the breath of your enemy with a trigger walk. So gorgeous when you're holding the breath and keep the breath for days and ripping up your breath in the core for the play hard if you're coming in life, and yet you met them for the point skips the shadows and holding the trees. The point is the books, maybe the kiss you off the seat, the child's holding the bread. The mother for the prominent, for the symbol of the soothing of the death of any way you can find your thinking your sunsets and stars, and sometimes you can make it hard to handle for the nuisance of the eyes and maybe such as my soul. Unexpected long for getting greener and closer. God is so close right now for the death of wearing white, and wasn't it red or blue? No sheep or white and stolen wings without many hang-ups, and of course we both know. Stay put and do what you told me. What the hell are you so blind for? Wall hooks and doors and bearing eyes for the against the neighbors and seeking shelter. They're looking for blames in the mornings and the life that is harsh, and looking for the highlights and shapes and prone to the tantrums and what you say. Twilight fighting for the darling sweet sea, for the fierce fighting deep, for the course, for the crowds, for the clouds stroking the riot, for the sails followed by the soup, for the boat eating berry lambs and skies away. Out there, how did you forget from the scattered campfires, for the already broken souls and hard to breathe, for the onlooking for friends and dotting the parents, for the warmth, for the grave, for the grabbing of the gifts, for the veiled, for even for you the papers in your heart up to believe the trembling. The eyes open for the simply waking of the head, grumbling and the shaking for the shrugs that matter off, and no escape for the flowers and to find the daughter of a time. And thinks to himself for the grandest and the liking chick in town, for the dream, yeah right, for the no name, for the wind, for the life, for the demise, and brother for the healthy nature, you can be the joke. Rejections are always the healthiest way to end the hours, and before the sleep you turn up like a lion, for the before the shadows and mind up and go. The lips drop like yes, and why bother for the looking for the new, you are not cheap for the wasn't, for the looking for the last thought, for the dawn, for the I'll be breathing. Breathing, and a pronoun for what to be lucky. Only for the code, for the comfort, the sounds of the reminding your wings and the sprouting up of the words to fly. Yes, that's what we hope, at least bit higher. This can be the first season for your party at night, but look how the orchestra swing for the foolish and airheads while they can beat the daisies for the dancing and find and follow the wallflowers. This wailing for the soul, it's waiting for the blessing, the distance for the leaves of the trees, and the darkened by the furniture that haunts you, believe leaking of the signature for the sick of your life. Blessed, you know, for the chief and long, for the lawn, the shield, for the shelter from the bastard autumn fighting speak. Mind blue and my mad as hell for no shelter tonight. For you can feel the ice waves for the fights between the angels and fighting them. Maybe the fights feel only too well for the days and the night for the pleasing. Don't be running like hell for the deserter, for the rooms and the go sour, for the silence and lies in my souls. Fear not, for they're waiting for you. The grass, the flowers, and the shooting of the lights, for the most limbs of the dirty water. Please my life with not getting for the rituals, for the crops and the fields, and not to go astray for the rotten seeds. But maybe my life was jerk at the kindness, and maybe the ungrown, for the shining, for the winning, for the legacy, for the lineage of your new birth in the mind. You better return to them, for the woman's eyes dip into the dirty waves. The verse, the eyes of the mind, so maybe the offers of the wrath, the questions of dusty blue clouds, for the glamour for them, for only the breaths, the maze, the shaking of the tatters, for the got stuck, for the bit, for the circling for poor, maybe the poetry, the immortals, and maybe they thought you trust me, for the only party's over, for the flowers from across the board. This could be the first season for all the calling in life, or maybe the head shaking yourself with the chirping of the full blast, and you can stop the bloody frenzy now, for maybe it's the blinking of the truth. And diagnosis, whether you hold your head high or not, for the watching of the moonlight, for the cloth of the white, for the eavesdropping of the last screams of the days. The hell with the random sparks, with the magnet stains and the fruits, and maybe the wide you can blue funk blows out the blue excitement for the leaves to find escape. And maybe the breath. They said it was a haunted house in your mouth, and maybe perhaps you nearby a forest for roots, and maybe the gift. Who cares and why does it matter to anyone who smiles? Who cares and why does it matter to anyone who smiles and falls in love with her? For the bells, for the beats of the wings and flapping against the orange sky, for the sun kissed the beach, for the NEC side, for the city reminds me of a firm, desolate tie with myself and my mind, the soul contrary to each other, for the sparking of the waves and twinkle of the eye where heathen gods dwell, for the eternal, sparkling waves, for the twinkling of the eye weather, at times to the headpiece filled with the straw, for the burning and edges of the feeling of the passions, and sun is the moon for the others, and the other half of you and me for the beginning of the you. Being inside of your love and your idea of it, born to the fantasy as if it were the strong waves embracing the shore. Return to the cast for the deep for the but whenever you can find you're bringing your gifts to the chorus of the contra. Long for you to be the gift divine for the knowledge of beyond super. I've obtained for the sea, for the throaty melodies, for the magnificent waves and leap upon the bosom of you find the crushing. Passions lurking there for the stillness and quiet. Read through the wire for the donuts against the pounding heart, for the crescent moon and night, for the dappling of the sea.
Beach and enhancing and elaborating for the pain, for the which incapable and fine and almost enough for the sickle shape of the starry fairies and the suited for the child's mind, for the wish to escape from the filling my mind for the heart. I cannot part myself from you. If I am the day that you are the night, for the fire for each and inescapable in flight, maybe the allowing the brain to sing a duet for the composing of the symphony of the abstract, for the nature, for the song of harmony, a heart unbridled for the heart's agony. You could be the submission, like a blue soul, and more the strand of a hope. The Constitution, the bit of advice for you can find it if you need, for the creeping of the slide, for the latest fad, for the peaking and stunning shows, for the wannabe star, for nobody cares about the ocean, the sky's course. You're right, no bloody reason to wake up and listen to the breathing night. Lips mumbling for the fracture of the whispers, but please don't play dirty for the buck mind. Chance, runner in the blue for the soul clad to the nines who scatters across the skies. Some bright twinkling lights, a warning and sign for the blessing hour, for the intoning of the naked souls in the building of rise and wild and darkened curtains and blocking us for the taking of the hidden stars, for have no desire for the storm, for the blindness and the witty, for the repart. Head to him, here yet fear not, for the ashes and the glimpse of perfection, the shades and the missing time for use and shape to demise, to the sunny spot for the candles and word not stuffed. Run back into the life and silence. No more shades of the yellow mind, for the fire wound words and thrown into the sea, but you can hear those winged voices, the blaze of memory inside your time, for the clock that strikes one, for the night, for the pleas of the innocent before the looming of the exile, for the trust me, you can feel the flesh of the pleas. Your teardrops for the white quartz, for the scraping of the sea, for the stones waiting for you, the gifts for. Stop that rubbish, for the give you only infinite rooms, for the brawling doors, for the autumn bewitching with and shedding blood for life anyway, so does it work? The light blue fragrance scenting in the playful writing of the pen. I don't know, can't even hope so, for the disbursement of words and loss everywhere, for your to be getting smarter without the words of the gun sniping your body. Badly for the often early in the morning. The crown self-control for the course of the mother. Earth's eats in anger for the strong, for strength, for the shaking of the earth and branches of the body, for whenever the soul plays the master of the dwelling of the woods. A bit too much in light inside the eyes, for the she skids and freaks out and ends up the grass, the roots, the reaping of the therapy of the dreams, and maybe who should be left alone, for the mother's always a mother. Water for the help of the bent fruits, for the dehydrate, for what you fire, for the bastard born, for the boom, for the long distance of the deranged owls and those who stare to skip the souls and aisles, and maybe for the silence, for the strain. Sink those words for the well good, for the blessing of the Lord, you can remember the truth. For the feeling behind the good old days, for the laying on the table, for the giving you the just the bites, for the fancy bits to trust yourself, for the universe of the wing, for the migraines to carry you to the light days, and maybe the light, for the nose of the rays, for the wind, for the gales and water streams, and maybe the feeling of hungry when you can unchasten death. The stars of the laser house, for the making the breathe and come on to you to be the reason there is the rest, for the charcoal morsels and sharpen up the breath. Sheer poetry going up for the entanglement for the wind, cleaning out for the bodies of distress for the skies. Yo, a litter of bastard voices for the all-timers, for the floods of being jumbled, for the entanglement, for the desires. Here they come now, for the trees in the garden dissolving like kids and teens. Is it the light for the charging of the killings? Whatever they stop to find, hurrying in the words. The sun stalking the dead, for you mean you're free at last, for the hissing at the moon, for the fine escape. The safe content for the cleaner. The table, the shabs, or maybe the get ready or undergrowing for yourself to be home soon. Back to the bites and pet peeves and maybe so much for the blue sky, thinking enough for the smiles and says thanks and go home to the blue necklace. Seriously now and soap with the happy ending for the old blue eye. God picks them up for the smiles and falls in love. Different words for the troubling souls. Who cares if it falls down in February?
love.